Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming with more Plague Inc. Evolved custom scenarios. Got another request for a scenario called The Flare. Now, there are a lot of flare scenarios out there, so finding the correct one can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. I'm guessing it's based on the Maze Runner, since this seems to be a common theme popping up whenever I search for the flare. This is the one we're looking for, though, by Arcana Maze, or Arcana Maze? I've actually heard it pronounced both ways. The world has been hit by solar flares, making most of the world uninhabitable. Disease is spreading and people are going crazy. We might be even running out of toilet paper, I don't know. The government, missing an N, has released a virus called the Flare to control population rates, but it has gotten out of hand, inspired by The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Alright, so it is a Maze Runner scenario. I'll be honest, I know very little about The Maze Runner. I know that this is obviously a very popular topic, given that it has popped up so many times in my search results, so a lot of people seem to like it. I'm just a little out of the loop. I do remember watching the first movie, and thinking it was just kind of okay. But because I hadn't read the books, I feel like there were a lot of important references that I kind of missed, and of course the books are always better than the movies, so I don't know, I wasn't really too impressed by it. I remember the ending being a little bit weird, and I never watched the rest. So I have absolutely no idea about the rest of this Maze Runner stuff. I don't remember any of the plot, so this is going to be fun. I'm probably going to get crucified in the comment section, but hey, I can't possibly know everything. Alright, ATP Boost, Darwinist, Oxide, Shumafel, and Sympto Stasis on normal difficulty. It's been called Virus VC321XB47 for some reason. A solar flare apocalypse. The flare is a rapidly spreading and deadly disease. It eats at people's brains, missing an apostrophe for possessive, making them go insane. Can you infect and kill everyone before the last infected dies? Well, that is sort of going to be fulfilled regardless. Can I kill everyone before the last infected dies? No. You cannot kill everyone without killing the last infected at the same time. So I feel like that's sort of a non-starter right there. A world catastrophe. Most of the world is uninhabitable and people are dying fast. Remaining governments have pulled together their resources and created Wicked, which will do whatever needed to find the cure. Okay, we're going to start off in Saudi Arabia, I suppose. Since it is the flare, it seems like starting in a hot place makes a lot of sense. And my question is, no. Okay. I was wondering if this is going to be one of those scenarios where it modifies all the population of the world and stuff, but 6.8 billion feels about the same, so it may not be inhabitable, but it's certainly not suffering too much. Anyway, what are our options? Well, we have air transmission, which always seems good for Saudi Arabia. Air 2, then we have water, then we have blood 1, which is good for the poor countries and some mutation chance. For symptoms, we have headache. Strong headache behind the eyes causes discomfort and reduces the ability to work, usually good for slowing down the cure a little bit. And anemia, decrease in red blood cells or hemoglobin in the blood can lead to hypoxia in the organs. No idea what follows. And for abilities, we have our standard cold, heat, and drug resistance, and something called the Bliss. Drug slows down brain activity, making the virus less lethal. Slowing down brain activity makes it less lethal? How does that affect the rest of the organs? Unless this is purely a neurological virus. Well, that could be. I don't know. Again, I know absolutely nothing about this flare you speak of. Let's go for some more air. That seems fine. A top-notch mine in Sweden? No way. That sounds like the place to be right about now. Man, gotta go to Sweden. Let's see. So we did get the anemia for free. Now we have hypersalivation. Inflammation of the submandibular gland increases saliva production and infection rates. That's pretty darn good for infectivity, so I'll go ahead and pick that up for what we get. Abscesses follows. Pockets of infected flesh are painful and act as breeding grounds for the pathogen, increasing infection rates when burst. Now, I'm sitting here right now trying to rack my brain a little bit, trying to remember anything about the Maze Runner. I don't remember much. Yes, there were like 100 kids, for God knows why, in the middle of a giant maze, because that proves something. I don't frickin' remember. It didn't make any sense by the end of that movie. There were like weird monsters inside the maze, though. Like you could try running the maze, but like the maze tried to kill you. Or there were monsters in the maze. Were they kind of like zombies? They might have been kind of like zombies. I don't remember. That's the thing. That's why I know, I can't really speak much to the quality of the Maze Runner. Again, a lot of people seem to like it. So maybe it's actually really good. Maybe the books are really good. All I know for sure is that I don't remember much of it, which means if it's not too memorable to me, I can't have thought it was very good at the time. Just from the movie. But again, movies, as I have learned the hard way, having my heart broken so many times, not always a very good indication as to the quality of a series of books. Anyway, alright, so for some reason, by going for Air 3, we can skip straight to Water 3, which seems great considering it's only 3 DNA more, and it actually gives you a lot more infectivity, so I think I'll save up for some of that. We have cannibalism as an option. Maybe they were kind of like zombies, I don't remember. Extreme compulsion to bite and eat other people. Lots of infectivity, but you do get some lethality. Hypersensitivity, good for the rich regions. I do like that, but I think I'm going to go for water 3 since it's so close. There we go. Let's go ahead and grab that right there. That leads to something new called extreme weather. Thunderstorms and lightning without rain. Okay, increasing lethality. Thunderstorms and lightning without rain. I mean, yes, whenever you do have an electrical storm, it doesn't mean that there's going to have to be a rainstorm that follows alongside. It could be just an electrical discharge in the atmosphere. I don't know. But if that is gonna, what is that gonna do? Spread the, no? Somehow it's infective. That's what confuses me. I understand lethality. What, we're just striking people dead with the power of Thor? Maybe. But infectivity? What is that doing? What's that all about? I don't know. Let's go for some drug resistance since we are in Europe, and I certainly want to spread a little bit faster there, getting into Madagascar. Good, that's one island off my list. Obviously, of course, worried about Greenland, so we're going to go ahead and get some cold resistance going. Wouldn't mind getting that hypersensitivity, since that extra resistance for the rich... Oh, don't get rid of that. For the rich regions is usually pretty good. Then we have hallucinations, which is surprisingly effective. Occipital lesions created causing severe hallucinations, lack of awareness, increased transmission chance, as well as the risk of injury. Well, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I think so. So what do we go for next? Well, there's a hallucination, so I guess we have some extra severity and effectivity there. This leads to the madness. The virus starts to eat away at the brain, which is pretty lethal. So now's the point where I need to be very careful not to get away, let this get away with me. The mutation chance could backfire pretty hard here with too much lethality. I do think I want some more cold resistance since we are in Russia. That certainly should increase my odds of getting into places like Greenland, which is the primary threat. Could go for the Bliss. 18 points feels like a lot, but it reduces lethality, so I'm less likely to get shut out. I'm kind of wondering if I could get the Bliss and then also get Cannibalism, and it might actually reduce it enough that I can get away with this and it's not going to hurt me. Let's go for the Bliss, and if I take a look at this, okay, it actually gets me a teensy sliver. So Cannibalism all of a sudden actually becomes pretty good. We might just mutate that for free. I don't really know for sure. For transmissions, I mean, going for some more water wouldn't be bad. I think I'm going to go for the blood, though, because I'm struggling a little bit in some of these poor regions. So any of that could certainly be helpful. I will say I'm a little confused. We're not spreading it all in Africa. Wait, we've got full infectivity in Egypt and South Africa. We're making basically no progress. What's happening here? Sorry, this is where my... Oh, there's... What the heck is in my throat? This is where my veteran Plague Inc. instincts are sounding off some alarms that something weird is happening right here. And here. Okay, yeah. Anytime you find yourself in a situation where you have almost a fully infected country and its neighbor doesn't even have one, and this is a prolonged issue, makes me wonder what's going on. All right, we're going to go for the water. More transmission might help. Despair, confusion, More drug resistance, maybe. The Bliss 2 gets rid of more lethality. For now, let's keep that. Let's just go for the drug 2. We've got almost full infectivity here in Russia. We should still be able to get something in Greenland. Cranks! Infected being labeled cranks. They are like zombies, just alive. So, cannibals. Insane cannibals. Got it. Okay, we did get into Greenland. That's good. Nothing happening here, though. Oh, this is screwy. Something's wrong. Unless these are places that don't actually have any population. Nope, they've got population. That is a problem. That is a huge problem. We're going to go for some genetic hardening. We could go for the weather, but that just gets me lethality, which does nothing for me. We have extreme fondness. Sure, we'll pick that up. That leads to hypocoagulability. How the heck I said that first time, I have no idea. Significantly reduced blood clotting ability results in heavy external bleeding, often fatal due to the exsanguination. Extreme blood loss, lots of lethality there. So not a lot more infectivity to be had here. Question. We have no land transmission. Let's go for some heat resistance and see if that for some reason makes a difference. Nope, so far no. But, like, notice we're not getting into Kazakhstan either. Or Central Asia. We did get in here, but guess what? This has a port. Ooh, I think we found the problem. Nothing in Pakistan. The Middle East, Iraq. Turkey, these are all... Yeah, look at the map. Look at the map and see if you see the pattern. Every country that is not infected, except for Sweden, apparently, does not have a port or an airport, which means the only way to get to it is via land transmission, and we have none. Oh, that right there is a screw-up. Unless there's a way to get around it. Maybe the lightning storms will get me across the borders? I'm not holding my breath. Madness 3, harder to cure. Nothing that gets me across the borders. Yes, this seems like a bug. 100 kids been brought in for cure research because Wicked is starting researching on children. Oh, we get it. They liked it so much, we got it twice. Okay. 200 children then. 200 children have been imported for cure research. For science. Yeah, we can't win this. This is an unwinnable scenario in its current state. That is a rather massive oversight. So here's what confuses me about this, right? So, this scenario has 4 stars, which would lead me to believe that people have beaten this before. And I would always assume, by the way, that when someone sends me a scenario, they've play-tested it pretty thoroughly to knock out any of the chinks in the armor. Kind of repair that. So I'm a little concerned about this. Like, when people send me a scenario, I don't want to be mean and say, you screwed up, but this is a screw-up right here. If it's an unwinnable scenario in its current state. Now, that said, I have an idea. There is a way to still win this, possibly, unless this got... I don't know, unless land transmission got set into the negative, there is still a way to win this. But we're going to have to change up our setup here for the flare. Instead of Aquasite, if we go for Terracite, that does add in some more land transmission. So here's what I'm guessing happened, is somewhere in the code of this scenario, the author, for some reason, set the land transmission base to 0 and did not include any transmissions or symptoms that increase that land transmission chance, which means it is still at 0. This should give us a small chance. And all I need is a small chance to be able to win. I'm also going to go ahead and turn off Darwinism, just because I actually can see a scenario here where the extra mutation could actually screw with me a little bit. Everything else here seems fine. So I'm going to try this one again. We're going to go fast, like Cernic the Hertog, and see if we can't make this work. So let's go for the transmission. We're going to go for the air. I don't have to read anything, of course, so now we're just going to sit back and wait. So yeah, this is one of those situations where, like, maybe the player, or sorry, the author, has always played their own scenario with Terracite, and for some reason they think that Terracite is the best. And, you know, that's dealer's choice. Okay. But if they had practiced this, their own creation, any time without Terracite, they should not have been able to win it, unless I'm an idiot. It is entirely possible that I am just an idiot who is missing something. Is that the case? I mean, if so, let me know in the comment section as gently as you can. I do have sensitivities. I don't like to be railed on too much, but you get the point. So, it's just an oversight, and, you know, oversights can be forgiven. And fortunately, the game gives us a manner of getting over it. The fact that we have already gotten into Iran, despite the fact that that was a nation... There's the Middle East right there. So these are nations we should not have been able to get into. We could not get into previously, but now we can thanks to Terracite. So already I can tell that we have found an avenue to victory. You just should not require this. Like, every scenario you should be able to beat, with some very rare exceptions. You should be able to beat every scenario if you didn't have any traits at all. Some traits obviously make it easier, but ideally that's the case. Now, if you have a scenario where you have to have a specific trait combination to make the mechanics work the way you want to, then what you need to do is actually take away the ability for the player who is trying your scenario to choose. Take that away from them, and you'll find yourself in a better position. Let's go for some blood transmission, water transmission, and so on. We've actually already evolved a fair bit, considering I may want to go for the abscesses and stuff in just a little bit. But yeah, take that away. You know, we've had some scenarios where, like, the traits are chosen for you. That's what you would want in this case. So what I would do then is either rework the base numbers to include some level of land transmission to make it possible so the player doesn't have to restart again and again, or make it so that they have to have Terracite by default, so there's no room for them messing that up. Well, messing that up. Again, I don't want to make it seem like it's the player's fault. This is absolutely the author's fault here, but again, I'm trying not to be mean about it. This is constructive feedback, you know? This is playtesting. An error has been found. I'm proposing a solution. I'm not trying to be a meanie pants, okay? So don't get all upset at me. I'm just speaking it as it is. As a guy who's played Plague Inc. for how many freaking years at this point? At pretty darn high levels, this is the easiest solution to your problem, and it's not even that big of a problem. It's actually okay. Like, this is totally doable. Just need to have done a little bit more due diligence before you submitted this to Steam Workshop. But I do think that this is overall could be a very good scenario. Like, let's judge this a little bit while we sit back and wait for Greenland to actually get enough infectivity that I can ramp up that lethality. If we really step back and critique the scenario, it's pretty good. Like, there's a good amount of customization in the symptoms in particular. Lots of good stuff to be had over here. Transmissions, could you really use a little bit more? All you have to do is just include, like, some bird transmission. Problem goes away. But there's a little bit to be desired here. I don't know what's supposed to be behind this blood. That seems to be just blocked for some reason. That's another slight oversight, but that's not quite as big a deal in the sense that it's not game-breaking. But the scenario itself is actually pretty good. It just has one really unfortunate flaw. So, overcome that, and I actually think this is a solid scenario. To the point where I would be tempted to give it a thumbs up. But because you cannot beat it in its current state, I feel like I'm compelled to give it a thumbs down. Does that make any sense? I don't know. And again, like, somebody submitted this to me. You know, I appreciate that you wanted me to look at what you've done. I appreciate that you're proud of what you've done. You know, that's awesome. A lot of people don't even have the guts to create a scenario and submit it for public peer review in the first place, you know? And that's exactly why I want to give you solutions to the problem rather than just saying, it sucks! It doesn't suck. This is actually a good scenario. It just has an oversight. Anyway, that's all I'll say on it. I think I've given enough of a disclaimer. I'm really not trying to be a jerk. But, come on. This has to be fixed. Preferably before people submit scenarios, alright? So there we go. We have beaten it. Took the trait of Terracite to get us there, but it did get us there. 502 days, 48% cure progress, 46,677 points, and 2 stars overall. Again, good scenario, but because it is unbeatable without a specific trait, I'm going to have to say no. Fix it, and I'll happily swap that back over to a thumbs up because I think the author did put in a pretty good effort. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, then I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.